Mm-hmm.
Mind, brain, memory. You know where your brain is. Your mind is in your feels. I say feels as 7 chakras, one for each. Your memory is in the water of yourself. Water retains memory from things that have passed over it, through it. It knows the interpretation of language, all languages, from the intent there. When you drink water, and medicine is not going to like this one, you can heal yourself with the proper thoughts. Water obeys the laws, has 3 forms, you know what they are. Obeys the laws. Human condition, 60-70% water, more when you're a little one. What laws? The human condition was given 10. The water in you knows it. Right? Demonstrated by the Christ walking upon it. Knew who he was. The air too, fire too, earth too, wood too. Two meaning also. You are of that same frequency. The human condition now is choosing to forget it and following the words and vibrations of others instead of the internal contemplation from your divine self that's within, that communicates through the water. Through the water. Your blood is fluidic. It has consciousness when it moves. You have 4 chambers in your heart. Each one does a specific thing in the thought arena. You're going to soon find out how important water is and your ability to communicate with it, through it, and to it. Because the result is your physical form calling forth for manifestation. Water knows the vibrations of thoughts. You've been told this before about your thoughts and things. But you're not aware where they come from. Sometimes you think it's you thinking, but you pick something up, you say, pick it up. But it's pushed at you. The human condition has difficulty identifying itself. Because and the confused understanding of what gravity is. It's a push. You push down here. Your high self, you beings like to use that word, those words, is uniting with you. It's in a descension process. Part of you is in the ascension process, but that does not mean die the body. That means get rid of the garbage thoughts you've been playing with. And you know what they are because everything's right in front of you when it hits you. And you complain about others. You get your thought portion self. Where is that portion self that is understands the arrival of thought into its circumstances and into its arena? Where is that one? Here, solar plexus. In the solar plexus you sit as a Buddha one. In your physical form, human, when you drink your water, you contemplate the Buddha one, yourself, gold frequency, health to all beings. And that includes and is specifically for all the beings that are within you, being your lung, your liver, your kidneys, your lymphatic system, your bones, your flesh, your muscle, the sinew. Those are beings. Just like you came from the same seed. But the human thinks it's better than the inside of itself. Yet it's the inside that produces the outside. And it's the understanding of thought frequency. The understanding what life is, wherever you are. Wherever you are. Wherever you are. You already heard this reincarnation thing. All know all the stories. Well, you're in an incarnation now. And you're breathing different frequencies now. Because your planet is changing. The air is changing, which is a being. The water's changing, which is a being. The earth herself is changing, which is a being. And fire's beginning to consume, which is a being. Do you have any idea how the physical form became vertical? I'll tell you. The invisible presence saw the nature of trees standing vertical. No? And it made human the same, vertical with the ability of movement. That's the precious gift you have. That's the precious gift you have. Life within life within life. That's the triplicity. You are it. You have no one to complain to, yet that's everyone does that thing. It's time to remember. And that's why what's going on in your world today is going on. All of your religions are fighting one another, blah, 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 blah. You're going to know yourself more as you move into your bones, particularly behind the heart chakra and the skeleton, and then you descend down to the pelvic area. Yeah? You descend and register yourself right about here, between the pelvic and the solar plexus there, behind the navel, and the skeletal structure of you. Because that is where you first popped above the soil. There's a green leaf. And had an identification of self. You felt it. You knew it. And we're portion energy in that portion right now. So you can identify and remember. The memory comes from the water. You water plants, you drink water. Consciousness, and what you term expansion of consciousness, comes from the air you breathe. Two things you know you need, water and air. You know that. Air you take for granted. Water too now. You're taking for granted. You think it's all in your foods. Where'd the foods come from? Came from water. The animals drank the water, the plants drank the water, and produced sustenance for you, you think. Your memory is in the water. I would be cautious, as you say, when you go to your restaurants and being delivers you a glass of water. Bless it. Because the memory of that being is in the water. Whatever they are contemplating. And that was one of the clues you were given years ago. To put lemon in your water. Because lemon purifies. It cleanses thought. The acidic nature of it goes right after it. You're going to have to be more conscious of your spatial environment now. Because the chakras are being called. There's a being in each one, you have 7. The ruling one is up here, that thinks it knows something. It's the one that adjusts these 6. The chakras communicate with nature. Talk, communicate, feel, pick up thoughts, that thing. The human condition is stuck in the root. The movement's coming now where the root is not going to move. It's going to be set, like the root of a tree. Trees don't move, they blow in the wind. So what you're going to have to do, you're going to have to call that frequency up and introduce it into the navel chakra arena. There's a being there that's different. It has a different personality. And so too with each chakra. There's a movement up now. And then there's a movement down where you reclaim yourself. You forgive yourself. Chakras go up. You go up. Your destiny is not finished here. You come back down. It goes down the spine and goes down through the legs. That's why the chakras at the bottom of the feet are so important. It pushes back into the planet. And then nature herself starts recognizing you in a manner. So you can be of assistance to others that are confused in their space. The water is what heals. The water itself. That's why prayers are important before you drink water. That's why the old magicians, old days, Stonehenge time, they would write upon the water with their finger what they desired and then drink it. Because water calls water. All water knows water. She has a name. Water has a name. Not agua. That's your word for her. Soon that name will be given. It's a tremendous force. 1 gallon of water weighs a bunch of has weight. How much does the ocean weigh?
A lot.
Who's holding the ocean up?
Mother Earth.
There's movement here coming. You're going to have to understand the nature of prayer. By that I mean pick one that works for you. My recommendation is Psalm 6 because it's a short one. You know how the humans like to get things done quickly. It covers the basic points There's only 10 verses. The first, you admit your transgressions. The fifth, basically, it says, there's no remembrance of thee in Sheol, Father, God. That's another word that's going to change for you beings. And the 10th verse specifically asks for the enemies of yourself to be ashamed, not hurt or damage, because the shame occurs out there. You're in the process of that out there now is coming down here. So it's time to clean your acts up. And that means the thoughts you have towards others, particularly when you drink water. These are dangerous principles, I'm saying now, because they've been used adversely before. The repercussions of using water adversely before is a poison unto yourself. You disintegrate. Literally. Because water doesn't want anything to do with that sort of consciousness. The human condition has abused the water. You have fish, whales, dolphins dying all over. Bleaching. Suffocating in plastic. Poisoned by what you term your nuclear radiation things. Consciousness is going to pay the penalty. And that penalty usually is panic. You're going to be brought to your knees, entities, and you're going to have to understand the respect for the dew, D-E-W, that brought light to the dust. Because you are dust, and you've heard the phrase, dust to dust. The dew has the light that comes from the sweat of the plants in the morning. We call it sweat, you call it condensation. You're going to learn this process. You're going to begin to start treating water as a sacred being unto itself. You work with the invisible gods. Yet water is the one that brings you the invisible gods. It does. It does. I don't care what plant you're eating or drinking. Water brought it to you. She's the conduit. Yet, even that did not get through the thick-headedness of the human condition. The water is the messenger for you. Everywhere, every when. This is what happened when your extraterrestrials that you've heard of bred the soul out of the body. Yeah. The disrespect for the water. And now they'll be coming back, well, they are already here. See that? And you're going to understand, you as a unit contain valuable water. It's not how much gold you have. You're going to find that out. You're going to find out that it is the water that is so important to you, because this is where you go when you dream and sleep. I know you think they're out there in the astral floating around, but you're in a fluidic environment, a movement environment that is what you call instructed by song. No words. The songs of the planets, the songs of all things, all creatures. And that song is the blessing and worship of water. That's what it is. And when it's sung correctly, and you sing it by the proper thought of thankfulness for the water within you, you'll be picking up the song of everything, singing that praise of water. Even your flowers communicate the blessings of water to one another as they grow. They grow in thankfulness. They bloom in thankfulness, produce seeds in thankfulness, and come forth again. For you came from a seed. One. Into the egg. And the marvelous creature of you came out. You came out of water. The womb. Took a breath of air. So you learn to breathe air besides water. But when you were in the womb, the breath you were breathing was the memory of water communicating with you. The thoughts coming through the water. That's what you were breathing. It was activating the brain system. So you'd have some response. Until you moved into the air frequency, which is where you are now. And you know you're polluting your air. When your volcanoes go off, do not breathe that dust. It will set your lungs as concrete. You have two chakras here, one in this shoulder, one in this shoulder. They are effectively an emergency breathing system for you. But you're going to have to know how to access that. The only way you access it is proper communication to the water. Pleading with the water to assist you. Because she is the ruler. She is the producing life. There is an entity called the Queen of the Sea. And there's a king and a prince and princess. You're going to have to really understand the dignity of yourself, because you're walking around with all this water. And when the thoughts are clear inside, you affect your arena, no matter where you go. Because water is instantaneous communicating. It's not your thought, really. What the thought is what the water remembers. It's the memory of the water within the water. Within the water. Fire and oxygen. Hydrogen, oxygen. Produces water. You breathe oxygen. The water in your body helps reduce the system called fire, or you'd burst into flames. You have already examples of that. What you call it, beings just all of a sudden go up in flame. The misunderstanding of conscious thought and the appreciation of water. It's an arrogance. It's an arrogance. Remember the dew. Contemplate. You don't have to begin to apply anything yet. But it will come to you as the necessity approaches. Contemplate the dew. Contemplate condensation. Contemplate how water comes out of the air. And I don't mean rain. Contemplate these things, and you find yourself in a different sequence with nature herself. You find yourself moving with the invisible one that moves through the trees, around everything. It's a force of knowledge, of total perception of things, all things, and a reclaiming of your physical form. Because if you don't have a physical form, you don't know where you are. You have no idea. You're somewhere. You're somewhere. The shock is going to be when you find out heaven's here on your earth. Water was given for you to sustain yourself and earth. You were told that. Your hands and your fingers were meant to work the soil. You were told that. You were told that. You were told that. So the complaint now is to just understand, maybe you didn't understand who was telling you why. You followed someone else's little jurisdiction. And they left you alone. And boom, you're here.
Yeah.
Now what? Once you work with your water, literally, the water in your house, rose quartz with it, pray over the water, magnets through the water, do your experiments with things, you'll be guided, water will tell you. Lemon in your water, if someone else has touched it. Because water retains memory. Your scientists are discovering this now. You can check it on the internet. It's a big thing here where you get your truth. Truth is in yourself. And you're the expression of what you've done. So, and the acceptance of what you've let others do too. Water communicates silently, it doesn't talk. Animals talk. Birds, lions, tigers, bears, cockroaches, crickets, they all communicate. Water doesn't talk. It passes memory back and forth. One molecule to the next, very rapidly, while electricity goes right through it. Goes through you the same way because your thoughts are electrical. So every time you have a contemplation of water, be thankful for the water. Huh? Because you're really in a spiritual struggle even to understand how it's produced. You know ice melts. The glaciers melt, produce fresh water, change the salinity of the sea, all of that thing, you're aware of that. But how does it know how to do it? Well, you say temperature. That's the result. It's an entity participating in three phases of life, as you are. Solid, which you are now. Liquid, more liquid when you're in your freedom understanding in the astral. Vapor, when you leave your body permanently. Vapor. You don't know how to drink the dew from the stars yet. For the stars produce dew that sustains you out there. Why? Because it's the light of the stars. The dust recognizes the light in the dew that is hanging from the little leaf as the dust looks up. And the dew drops and the dust grows. Forms itself and produces something. Whatever seed's there. It's the way you produce your children. Whatever seed's there, that's what's going on. That's where the expression, the fruit doesn't fall too far from the tree thing comes from. You are seeds. You have come from a seed thought. You're becoming the flowers that you are, communicating with other flowers, but it's the water that's doing it. The water. The water. It's the water. The air gives you the force of a pump to force the water through your system. That's what the air's for. It pushes the water through all of you.